Hello and welcome to Scott Bryson Beyond the Service. As promised, the gloves are coming off. We're going to jump right into the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm sure you remember it well. I certainly do. I have tremendous PTSD from that nonsense. I found myself living in Hawaii when that happened and had to travel back and forth to the East Coast quite a bit, more than I thought I was going to do. And it's a long flight, if you don't know, from Hawaii to Charlotte. I found myself doing things that I didn't want to do, like wearing a mask for 12 hours, being told to do something that didn't make sense. Now, listen, if I have to do things that I don't like, but they make sense, I'm your guy. I'm a good little soldier. I'll do what you tell me as long as it makes sense. Here's the thing with that whole mask thing, and we could talk about it for days and probably not agree, some of us. But if you could smell a fart through that mask, you can get COVID, because the COVID particles are way smaller than the other things floating around in the air. So it just didn't make sense. And I was a federal agent at the time. I didn't want to lose my job or get in trouble or arrested, or, because you're on the airplane, man, you can get arrested really quickly for disrupting things on an airplane, which I did not want to do, right? Obviously. So I found myself acquiescing, and it was very hard for a guy like me because I'm very strong-willed, hard-headed, type A, whatever you want to call it. But, sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do, and that's very frustrating. But anyway, I digress. Today, we are going to get in, we're going to play some videos. I'm playing several videos. I've got a lot of things. I probably won't play them all because I've got so many to choose from. I could probably play videos for 2 hours and not cover them all. But I want to play some of these because I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth. Just because I've seen it doesn't mean you have. And here's the other thing I do want to say about this. I have one particular friend in mind, and she's great. She's one of my wife's best friends. She's an amazing human being. She's in the medical field. But because we're not, she sort of dismissed some of the things that we're saying. And I'm not saying that I know more than she knows in terms of overall medicine. Of course I don't. I haven't been to medical school. But I have common sense, and I have a brain, and I'm a free thinker, and I'm not a sheep. So I just wanted more information. That's all I wanted. And so we did a lot of research. And I would argue that my wife and I did way more research than people like her. No offense. She's kind of come around on some stuff now. We don't really talk about it much anymore because it's kind of like politics and religion. You're just going to argue, So it's kind of a moot point. But the things that we knew, what weren't things that we said, oh, well, this is what we know because this is what we did in a lab. No, we didn't do anything in a lab. But these other geniuses with their brains as big as this room did, and just can't get certain people, I don't know if she did or not, but just can't get certain people to watch certain videos. Like, all I'm saying is go to YouTube and look up Dr. Robert Malone. Go look up Peter McCullough. Go look up Joe Schmo. These guys are the ones doing the research. But anyway, I'll let the video speak for themselves. Stand by.
Shows that the all-cause mortality evidence data did not increase at all in the run-up to the declaration, fraudulently, by WHO of a pandemic. There is no public health emergency except that created by our governments. An inappropriate, fraudulent PCR test was used to give people the impression that they had a particular disease where they didn't. There were all the normal diseases. And then what happened was, in 3 different ways, people were treated badly through changed medical procedures that were imposed above the level of nation. Briefly, mass ventilation of people inappropriately in hospitals that led to lots of deaths. In care homes, many people were given sedatives and respiratory depressants, which led to their deaths. My PhD was specifically in that area of opiates and respiratory depression. There has not been a pandemic. And in the community, people were denied life-saving antibiotics and died of bacterial pneumonia. There's your pandemic. There is no other pandemic. And based on this lie, we were told that vaccines were coming our way and would be our savior. 2 things. As I say, first, there's no pandemic, so you certainly don't need an experimental, rushed medical intervention. But secondly, even if you did, as someone who's worked in the industry for over 30 years, I am telling you, It's absolutely impossible to invent, test, clinically evaluate, and manufacture and then launch on global scale a complex biomedical product. It's absolutely impossible. It's not as close, it's years wrong. The fastest record prior to this was 6 years. And friends of mine who've worked all their lives in manufacturing of complex and in the complex biological products tell me the methods development alone for the development of a reproducible manufacturing process itself takes a number of years. So whatever it is you think was done, I am telling you, there was not the development of a proper medical product. What I think happened was the advancement of materials that are intentionally toxic, and then they were sketchily advanced and jammed into people's arms, often coerced, sometimes even mandated, with the unsurprising effect that millions of people have died. So I think having heard what I've just said, that there was no pandemic and the lie was maintained in order to inject people en masse, I think 5.5 billion people, with an intentionally dangerous substance.
Okay, that guy was from Pfizer. That's a scientist from Pfizer. And the reason I played that video first is because Pfizer was one of Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, was one of the main companies at the forefront of this thing. And by the way, they made billions of dollars. They make billions of dollars all the time anyway, which is fine. Hey, I'm all about capitalism as long as it's not hurting people. But they made billions alone off of the jab. And this guy, I don't know if he's, I don't know if his conscience got the best of him or what, but he's on there talking, and I wouldn't be surprised if he might need to get himself a security detail. I'm just saying, but that's a guy from Pfizer who knows way more about it than I do. I have an opinion, but this guy's got an educated opinion, and that's a big difference. What I wanted to say about Big Pharma real quick before we get into the medical professionals is, Bernie Sanders, whom I don't agree with on probably anything. The only thing I might agree with Bernie Sanders on is that big pharma sucks. Well, big government sucks too, Bernie, but he's a communist, so he'll never agree with that. But where was he during this? That was the head scratcher for me. Bernie Sanders is on TV day in and day out railing against big pharma, and then to the pandemic showed up, do was crickets. Where was Bernie's crusty old head out here talking about big pharma? I'm just saying. I'm asking for a friend. All right, this next clip is Peter McCullough, Dr. Peter McCullough. He's a Canadian. I love this guy. He's awesome.
20% did not take a vaccine. The vaccine was never safe enough for me to take. Messenger RNA, devised by Pfizer and Moderna, has been chemically modified to be unassailable to enzymes in the body to be broken down. The messenger RNA is found in the human heart of people who die after the vaccine. It's found in the brain. The spike protein is found everywhere in the body. 3 studies now show the spike protein is circulating in the blood for 6 to 9 months after people take the shot. This part of the virus, the lethal part of the virus in the vaccinated, it's circulating in the blood. And then they take a booster, they get more circulating in the blood. It is a killer protein. It cannot be safe. It was not safe by design. Safety
population
trumps
control.
Efficacy. We cannot
Wait till you hear Bill
tolerate
Gates talk.
False drug claims.
Idiot.
And we saw a poster behind Senator Blumenthal making a false drug claim that vaccines saved millions of lives, specifically the COVID vaccine. Well, let's take a look at that.
Nope.
When someone signs consent for a vaccine, Senator Blumenthal, does the consent form say it's going to save their lives? Of course it doesn't. It's not on the FAQ. There's never been a prospective, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial ever showing that COVID-19 vaccines reduce mortality or hospitalization. There's not even a valid non-randomized study. Thankfully, COVID mortality went down for 3 reasons. Because we all got the infection, vaccinated and unvaccinated, so we developed population natural immunity. We developed early treatment. Credit to Operation Warp Speed. We used all the Operation Warp Speed tools, additional drugs, We treated patients with multi-drug protocols at home so they don't go to the ER. So Governor Green never saw the patients we treated because they were successfully treated at home. And the third reason is the virus mutated to a much milder form.
Governor Green.
Those things happen concurrently with rollout of the vaccine. The vaccine cannot be falsely credited with saving millions of lives.
That dude's way smarter than I am. The whole point of this podcast is to present information. Believe it or you don't believe it. It's kind of like the gospel. I'm not trying to compare myself to the Bible, but what I'm saying is God's given us free will to choose him or to not choose him. And so when pastors present the gospel message, you believe it or you don't believe it. And, hope that everybody would believe. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I'm presenting information. You'll believe it or you won't. That's your choice. All right. Just to mix it up and keep it fair and equitable. Gag. Let's listen to the CDC director.
The vaccine should have never been mandated. It wasn't never meant to prevent transmission. It didn't prevent transmission.
You
Probably
lied.
was a misnomer
You lied
to call
back
it a
then.
vaccine.
Now
it's
you're
really
telling the
more
truth.
like a medicine. It doesn't stop infection.
Clown, no
Children
kidding.
should have never been vaccinated.
No shit.
People shouldn't have been mandated to be vaccinated to go to school and work. So the policy side was totally misplayed. Okay, and I know the vaccine
What he meant
came out
was he lied.
14th of December.
They lied.
And I was out of office on January 20th.
They
so
lied.
unfortunately, I had very little influence on the policy. But I did argue that it should be a vaccine that we should use for the vulnerable.
Idiot.
Well, put it in the nursing homes. Put it in assisted living. Don't mandate this vaccine. Didn't belong in children. So a lot of overreach. And as a consequence,
I can't handle
mRNA
this.
was a new technology.
Do you hear him
Had,
distancing
we
himself?
don't know all of the potential negative consequences. I'll say this briefly.
Be a man,
because I see
bro.
the timer. When I give you an mRNA vaccine, and I've talked to the FDA and others about this, when I give you an mRNA vaccine, I don't know how much spike protein you make.
Dear Lord.
I turn you into a spike protein factory.
Yeah, we know.
I think the FDA should know how much protein do you make.
Wow, you're a genius.
And I don't know
I'm
how
smarter
long
than
you
this
make
guy.
it.
Well,
I think we ought to know how long
I'm at
you
least
make
more
it.
honest.
And I don't know the volume of distribution of it in your body.
Shut up. I can't listen to any more of that guy. He's pissing me off. So far, that dude's pissed me off the most. Well, the other dudes didn't piss me off at all. The Pfizer guy kind of irritated me a little bit, but Dr. McCullough's the man. Let me see. I got to find this other one. I'm telling you, I got videos for days, people. We could be here for 4 hours. You want to do a show? Anybody want to do a Sean Ryan podcast? A 5-hour podcast? Ain't nobody going to watch me for 5 hours. I know that. All right. We're going to shift just a little bit. It all ties together. This one's going to piss me off too, but I've already seen it, so I know it's coming. Stand by.
Have shrinking populations.
You do not even have to have elections anymore.
do not
because
have
you
to
can
have
already
elections
predict,
anymore.
and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
Our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
What we are very proud of now, is
proud
the young
of.
generation,
I'm so proud of.
like Prime Minister Trudeau, President
proud
of
of.
Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinet.
You want the function, you want
You're
the
a freaking
service,
idiot.
right? Why you want to own a cell phone if you can just lease it? And if you
can
lease
lease it.
why shouldn't you lease your
I bet you don't lease anything, you
refrigerator or
dummy.
your washing machine or your dishwasher, or why do you want to own it?
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social
Oh,
media.
man.
If 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you it has a big
That ain't going to happen
Can
where I
you
live.
imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our
we have an
brains,
implant in our
and
brain,
we measure your brain waves.
There's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the
yeah.
brain. People believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters.
What's she talking about?
Taking photographs with those characters.
In substituting humans for machines.
Okay, I can't
it'd
deal
be
with you
far
idiots.
easier.
The reason I played that is it's all tied together. It didn't really say, it sort of said it at the beginning, but, and I'll play one for Bill Gates here in a minute too. It's about population control. That's the whole freaking thing. It's about the haves and the have-nots. There's no middle class. There's a big middle class here in America. I would say in the West, there's a pretty substantial size in the middle class. I think I'm middle. I don't know what the heck I am. I'm not poor. I'm not rich. I'm middle class. It's huge, right? There's the top 1% pay oh, by the way, which we're not going to have a civics lesson today, but like the top 1% of billionaires would be, they pay like 40% of the tax, but that's a topic for a different day. I think these people are just jealous that they don't have money, whatever. But the point is, these idiots, this global cabal, we talk about the deep state on here a lot, on my Instagram page or whatever, the deep state this, the deep state that, Epstein, bull crap. Dude, it isn't the deep state, it's the deep world. It's a cabal. It is a cabal. It is deep and wide. It's not good. But you shouldn't be surprised if you know anything about the Bible and you read Revelation and Daniel. It's coming. Jesus is coming back. Hallelujah. Let's go. But it's going to get way bad before that happens. That's what I believe. We're not on here to talk about the Bible today, and I don't know enough to preach on it right yet. I'm studying, though. Don't think I'm not. But, there's the pre-trib and the post-trib people. I'm trying to get in the weeds on that. So I get my truth, the truth, not my truth. That's so goofy. What I meant was I get the truth. Where I get my information from is the Bible, the Holy Bible. That's the only thing I trust anymore. You can't believe half the crap you see on TV. Hear, see, AI is a nut. I mean, it's a nut job out there. So anyway, let me get it back on track. I've gotten myself a little revved up. I'm filming this podcast in the morning, because my days are starting to fill up, and I'm drinking coffee, and I'm vibrating a little bit over here. I got my coffee going, and I got these videos, got my blood boiling. So sorry, try to get back on track. Okay, before I play the Bill Gates video, that guy what a creep. I want you guys to listen to this guy's not Peter. This is Dr. Robert Malone. This is the guy that Elizabeth and I found first. He's the first one. He was responsible for some part of the mRNA. I think he created. I don't understand all that mess. But this dude is also a super genius. So between Robert Malone and Peter McCullough, we got educated very quickly, mostly because my job was threatened. Uncle Joe was going to, let me go after 24 years with the service. My services were no longer going to be needed because I wouldn't take the jab, because I wasn't being, wasn't falling in line. I wasn't being a good boy. Whatever.
As we've experienced it, who is it? Anybody here know? Was it Klaus? No.
Klaus.
There's something above Klaus. Was it Biden? Was it Tony Fauci? These are all surrogates, okay? You don't really know who is managing the message that has been propagated on you. That's fifth-generation warfare. Over the last 3 years, Western governments, non-governmental organizations, transnational organizations, pharmaceutical industry corporations, media and financial corporations have cooperated via public-private partnerships, which I assert is a euphemism for fascism, to deploy the most massive, globally harmonized psychological and propaganda operation in the history of the world. Okay, over the last 3 years, you have been subjected to the most massive, harmonized, globally coordinated propaganda campaign in the history of the Western world, full stop. With this campaign, the governments of many Western nation states have turned, okay, this is key, military-grade psychological operations strategies, tactics, technologies, and capabilities developed for modern military combat against their own citizens.
Preach, brother.
These are inconvenient facts. The world that many of us believed existed no longer exists, if it ever did.
Look, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm going back and forth between good videos and bad videos. I can't play 2 or 3 bad videos in a row. I'll lose my freaking mind. Here's one. Here's a good one.
Basically, biological chip that it is in the tablet.
The tablet.
And once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance. The insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do take them. It is fascinating what happens in this field.
You heard him say it. The FDA, which is here in America. And he said another thing to me that was very interesting. He used the word compliance. That means do what you're told. Shut up, do what you're told, and like it. They're not for us, people. They're not for us. They are definitely against us. See, when they talk about doing what you're told and population control, if there's 8 billion people on the earth and we want to get it down to 6 billion, do you think they're talking about themselves? And the people in the audience are just like, I'll see if I can find it. I have it somewhere. He's talking about you. You people out in the audience that go to watch these TED Talks or these Bill Gates idiots talk, who would do that? To get a life, to go fishing, dude. I don't know. But they're clapping, and he's talking. He's saying the quiet part out loud, just like when Obama got elected. We're going to fundamentally transform America. Do you oh, yes. Bro, we're living it right now. He didn't mean, he said what he told the truth. He said it. We thought he meant one thing. He meant something. He didn't lie to us. You just took him out of context. Now we're paying the piper. I really do want to find this Bill Gates video. You've probably seen it. There's a couple out there, but here's a good one too. It's the same stuff.
Globally, you are so far above the population and the consumption levels which can be supported by this planet that I know in one way or another it's going to come back down. So I don't hope to avoid that. I hope that it can occur in a civil way, and I mean civil in a special way, peaceful. Peace doesn't mean that everybody's happy, but it means that conflict isn't solved through violence, but rather in other ways. And so that's what I hope for.
I got something for you, buddy.
The planet can support something like 1 billion people, maybe 2 billion.
Who told you that?
Depending on how much liberty and how much material consumption you want.
Who told you that?
To have. If you want more liberty and more consumption, you have to have fewer people.
Shut your mouth.
You can have more people. I mean, we could even have 8 or 9 billion probably if we have a very strong dictatorship, which is smart. It's unfortunately, you never have smart dictatorships. They're always stupid.
Thank you. You're proving my
point. But if you had a
point.
smart dictatorship and a low standard of living, you can have it. But we want to have freedom and we want to have a high standard. So we're going to have 1 billion people.
Shut your mouth.
And we're now at 7, so we have to get back down. I hope that this can be slow, relatively slow, and that it can be done in a way which is relatively equal.
I forgot how bad it was.
So that people share the experience and you don't have a few rich, trying to force everybody else to deal with it. So those are my hopes. I mean, but that's what lies ahead.
There's so much to unpack right there. I'm going to come back. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a follow-up podcast on a couple of these I'm going to take some excerpts out of some of these videos today that I showed, and I'm going to do a doggone part 2 on this thing. You've got to listen to what these dudes are saying, man. They are saying the quiet part out loud. I'm going to really get in the weeds on that. That guy right there, he just said a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't know if you were listening to it word for word or just kind of getting it from a high level. That brother was telling you the plan. We've got to be smart enough to listen to it. All right, hopefully you're still there. I haven't made you crazy with just playing video after. But here's the thing. If I don't play these videos, it's just me talking and you're like, that's just Scott making up crap. No. Here's the video. This is another good one. I forgot I had this one. This is BlackRock. If you don't know anything about BlackRock, do yourself a favor. If you got about 5 minutes that you want to, don't go down a rabbit hole too far. You'll just ruin your whole freaking day. But if you got about 5 minutes that you think you can spare to make yourself a little worried, but then like get back into your flow for the day, Google these clowns over at BlackRock.
I believe that outside the United Nations, this is the largest gathering of global leadership of the post-COVID period of time. For many people, this meeting feels out of step with the moment. We hear all about the elites. And how does that play out in an age of populism? How does an established institution make a difference in an era of deep institutional mistrust? And there's some truth to the critique. I believe in this forum for a long time. I certainly wouldn't be leading this if I didn't believe that we can change and make the world better. But it's also obvious that the world now places far less trust in us to help shape what comes next.
Who are you? You're not elected.
If the World Economic Forum is going to be useful going forward, it has to regain that trust.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Larry. Larry freaking Fink. You're a bazillionaire and you work for BlackRock, or you are BlackRock, whatever. I don't know how that works. CEO of BlackRock or whatever it is. You're not elected. You're not a member of parliament. You don't live in the UK. You're not a senator or congressman. You're not a president. You're not a governor. You're just a private citizen with a whole lot of money. He said, we. Did you hear it? We. If you don't know anything about the WEF, the World Economic Forum, I would suggest maybe do a little research into that, right? These people, which is a topic for a different day, want to preach to you about your carbon footprint. You know, your Suburbans and your four-wheel drive trucks are just really killing the atmosphere. They want you to drive an e-car, which is whatever. I'm sure some people watching this drive e-cars, whatever, do your thing. I don't want an e-car because I think that that's just another mechanism that they can turn off if they don't want you to go to church or something crazy like that. But who's to say what's coming? But if I want to drive a 4x4 truck, let me do my thing. If you want to drive an e-car, do your thing. I don't care. But these clowns are on G5s, G6s, flying to Davos annually. They meet in January in Davos, all the talking heads, the people with, you know, massive, massive bank accounts. Most of them start with B's. Some are millionaires. But they're going to jet set in an airplane. They probably cost about $10,000 an hour to operate, right? And jet fuel and different things. And you're going to go over there and you're going to have your little meeting. I've been. And the reason I know, I've been. I went over there with Al Gore one time when I was a young agent. Airplanes just side by side. Nice, very nice aircraft parked right beside of each other. They're flying in. Gavin Newsom just went. Why? You're the governor of California. You're not. You don't represent America. Keep your ass at home. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. They wouldn't know irony if it bit them in the butt. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that freaking rabbit hole today. That just popped in my head because they want to preach. They want to tell. What am I looking for? They want to instruct. They want to teach us. They want us to be receptive to their idea. They're so learned. They're so smart. I'm just a village idiot. I'm just one of the poor little paupers out here drive his 2002 Chevy truck, which, by the way, I love my old truck. There's hardly any electronics on it. It's the best. You can kiss my white butt, brother. You can get in my truck. You give up your G6 and I give up my truck. Sound fair? You heard it for yourself. They're moving. They want to move, and they are trying to get us headed to the one world order. That's what it is. That's what this whole thing is about. You can talk about COVID. You can talk about money. You can talk about power. You can talk about race. You can talk about right versus left, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. None of it is what. That is a means to an end. It's spiritual warfare. This whole freaking thing is spiritual warfare. They're moving toward a one world order. Why do you think Bill Gates wants less people on the earth? Why do you think they're pushing for abortion all the time? We're made in the image of God. And Satan, who has been defeated, he's a defeated foe. First of all, Lucifer got cast out of heaven. He got cast out because he freaking tried to take over. Prideful, power hungry. He wanted to be worshipped. He didn't want to worship. He wanted to be worshipped. You got to go, bro. Cast him. Where did he cast him? Where did God cast Satan? Lucifer. To earth. He cast him to earth. He's running this place. And all his little minions are doing his bidding. Wake up, people. Wake up. This is not good. If you're a Christian, hallelujah. I'll see you in paradise one day. And we'll walk through some flowers out in the field or whatever. I don't know. But it's going to get worse before it gets better. Don't kid yourself. Okay. Okay. As promised, the last one, I promise, is that we're going to close with a doozy. We're going to close with our boy Bill Gates talking about population control. Here we go.
That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. The world today has 6.8 billion people.
Did you hear what he said? If we did a really good job with healthcare, reproduction, which is abortion, and vaccines, we could reduce. Why in the world would you want to reduce the population with a vaccine? That's counterintuitive. A vaccine is supposed to help you defeat the disease. Like polio was a real vaccine. Oh, and by the way, it takes between 10 and 15 years for the FDA to approve vaccines. And I was all about it. I wanted it to work. When Trump was in office and it was Operation Warp Speed, I'm like, man, I hope this works out. But Trump's my guy, but I still didn't take it, right? I didn't want anything to do with it because I didn't have enough information. It was moving too fast for me. It didn't seem right. And then when Trump got out and Biden got in, when he won, because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden said, I'll never take a Trump vaccine. But as soon as they got in, it was the best thing since sliced bread. So as soon as they politicized it, I was out. I was already worried about it. I was already leery. I was like, man, I don't know. I'm a Trump guy, but this is moving to Trump or no Trump, right? The science is the science, and it was just moving too fast for me. And then Peter McCullough was talking, and Robert Malone was saying, they're not saying stop, they're just saying slow down. And so no one was listening to the right people except for a few of us. So I'm a pure blood. My family's pure bloods. So we got that going for us. But the Bible says, be fruitful and multiply. It doesn't say you can have up to 6 billion people or 12 billion people. No, it says be fruitful and multiply. These guys have a God complex. They better be careful.